This is a very crucial part in any electrical work, as I need to show you what you as a client need to look for when you have a decorator coming in, especially after rewire or after just decorating, and what to look out for and what to pay attention, especially when you hire a decorator and then you spend all of that money for electricians to actually install the cables and sockets for you in the first place, and you went in and you actually purchased one of those decorative switches, and I'll show you what I mean. Here is one of those switches. Beautiful black with polished rocker. And what's important about that is you've got a switch. So the decorator should have just unscrew this switch and move it off the wall slightly so that it could be painted behind. It could be nicely smooth behind. But on this occasion, this hasn't happened. So that decorator was on his lazy day, I'd say. And I'll show you another example. This is another example. So we've got an old switch, and if you're spending hundreds and thousands of pounds getting a decorator to put the new ceilings actually in for you and decorate all the walls and put a plaster on the wall, you can just loosen these face plates and just look at this, that's a wood screw. And just only decorate behind, so when we do end up putting a nice switch, none of that will be visible, and you don't have to do the work twice because there's just no way to decorate nicely around the socket, just as you can see. So again, someone even used the wood screws here to fix it. Bear with me, I'll be going through the day and I'll show you what I'm doing, how I'm dealing with this problem, and what can I do to minimize and what can I do to actually help my client to then later on just do those little touch-ups, which shouldn't be needed. Anyway, let's crack on. Today I'm going to show you how to install one of those lights, and let me show you what the problem is. So a beautiful LED light, so it's really nice and flush, as you can see, low profile, but equally there's not a lot of room for all the cables, and especially there's not a lot of room for all of that. There's no way I can hide all of those cables in that, so there's just no room. I'll show you how we'll have to deal with this. Actually, that's all I have to connect. So as always, first things first, turn off the lights. We've got downstairs and upstairs, and there are some general lights. Here we go, it's all off. Lovely. That light will be first. Let me show you what I'm doing to minimize the flaking off, breaking all of that apart, because I can see the white paint all over it. What I have to do is I use a knife, like a Stanley knife. So all you want to do is just cut off that paint. So you apply pressure towards the actual faceplate. The top has already loosened, but the bottom is all holding. If I was to force now and open, all of that bottom would crack away. Actually, we don't do this switch today. I'm going to put it back in and we're going to move to upstairs. That's where we are changing the lights. As you can see, there is a lot of paint on top, on the side, from the bottom as well. You will see what this looks like when I put the new one on. Just as you can see, some of that is not very even, it's just coming out because it was decorated and plastered as and when the switch was in situ. Let's grab the new switch. The importance is switch has to be earthed. All that earth that is there on the back needs to be transferred onto the metal switch. You cannot rely just solely on the screws that are connecting the faceplate with the actual back box. You need to take the earth and put it onto the switch. You can see that the cables are already doubled over. So if you're always thinking, how do I put the switch so it's correct way round? So when you're looking at the switch, common is at the top, and then you've got L2 and L1. If you put it into L1, your switch will work on in that position and off. If you put it in L2, then you will have to flip the switch upside down. And I'm sure there was a couple of you out there who made that mistake. Happy days. And that's what it is. So actually, it's not as bad, and we have decorative screws. The challenge about those is that they are quite short. Well, for the light switch, they might be just all right. The screws are actually painted, so they also, just for decorative purposes, look absolutely beautiful like this. They might not be conductive, yeah? So a little continuity test. Screw to screw. Well, it is so cool, but we still don't want to rely on it. Still want to put that earth on the back of the switch like we did. This is the interesting one, as we've got the wood screw, we've got an electrical screw, a little bit of a general mess around. Let's check. We've got everything we need. Why did they didn't have the proper electrical screw? And I don't know if the new screws will actually reach all the way to the back of that box, because that was a 16mm box used. Look how much plaster they have had to put in. The cables are not doubled over, so we'll need to double over the cables. I just inspect the cable itself, and this is what I want you to put your attention to. So right there, so the cable was pushed all the way in. If I'm going to double over now, it's probably going to snap. You can see it did. That's why all of the cables should be doubled over when you do the lights. As we're supposed to be marking what the cable function is, although you see red, we do not assume anything. Earth first. You want to make sure that you're not pushing the sleeve into the terminal block. L1. There's just no way. That's where my screw is just about to reach, barely sticking out from the wall. We will either have to use a different screws and paint them black for the client. I've got like an extension bit for screws, but then that will be too big because my extensions will actually take it to the almost the front of the box. And I don't know if that will then help me do what I need. Then I might need to just cut these ones short, but let me show you what this will look like. I've got the box called Elec screws, and in here all sorts of things, but this is the one I need. Here is the extension bit that goes into the box. Then you use, well, am I gonna take it all with me? I'm just actually going to check how much of this ends up inside. Okay, and what's the depth of that box? That obviously goes flush. We need to cut about 3-4 millimeters. That's gonna be like super short. But that doesn't matter because we'll have those extensions to pick it up from just beneath the surface of that faceplate. It will be one of those a few moments later.
A few moments later.
This is quite deep in. Just trying to get this sharp edges off. So that's how simple it is to sometimes just replace one light switch. You would think nice and easy, straightforward. All you have to do is just open a few screws, change the cables, and job done. Well, not necessarily. In, and here we go. You have to be super careful not to scratch it because it's so easy to scratch these black switches. On this one, I need to take a little bit more. I'm trying to get that right grip. It is replaced, but still needs to be touched up. Maybe just scraped a bit more filler. Done. So my new painted screws definitely look a little bit better than just silver. Yeah, cool, done. The time has come for this one to be installed. This is what we've got to do. We've got to install that light. We're gonna remove this for now. There's a few ways to attach this. First one is dead on flat using that flat plate, swivel, and it's done. So I won't be able to put this exactly where the cables are. Maybe I will. I need to cut the hole, make off all of these cables, simplify them into one cable, put this up on the ceiling. But firstly, let's simplify this and I'll tell you what is what. I see black ones, another black one, red ones, yellow and green. Let's start from the simple one. Yellow and green are the earths. We've got 3 red ones. This is our live loop, what we call it. We've got 1 single black. That's our switch line. So this is basically going to the switch and comes back, taking the power from the loop, and the loop means coming from the fuse board into here and then off to the rest of the house, and we're borrowing the power that goes through the switch. When you click the switch, it comes back through here, and that is going to power up our new light. Definitely make sure that we mark the cables accordingly to what they are and to what they do. You already know the drill. Sleeving, and that sleeving allows me to understand that this is a switch line. It will tell everyone else that this is a switch line. That's it. Black and red. So we can just leave them as black because black is neutral. Just as you can see, someone just screwed on the actual insulation. So very sloppy work. Tape all of it just as it is, and down and up. That's it. Now we can pull this down. Yeah, with it, I've just basically stripped the insulation. That's the switch wire. Separate those earths. Cool, done. Cool. This is where we are now. We've pushed all the Wagos inside. We've got the bracket fixed on. We've got the cables stripped. So now, live in neutral. This is the moment where you have to like decide how you're gonna push them in. That's one in. The second one go into. Okay. You need to put them flat, otherwise it will clip. Okay, that's in position. You need to be aware of how this twists. So, yes. Well, let's put the power back on. Well, that's quite bright actually. It's beautiful, very nice and bright, but actually we're gonna spice it up. Ain't saint, but the picture tells for itself, so yeah. That's what we have to do, is just brilliant. I love it. Looks good. Looks good when it's on and looks even better when it's off. Nice. We're done for today. We now changed all of the lights, all of the sockets. We had some struggles. We've done some of the new screws. The black one, the lights are all working everywhere. And if you're thinking of upgrading your sockets, your lights, give us a call and we'll tell you what you have to do. We will advise you on the best way to go forward. It doesn't matter what step of the project you are, or whether you're not doing even any project at all. Just give us a call, send us some picture, and we will advise you on the best course of action to upgrade your electrics at home. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Give us a like. Thank you.